All right, so we got to flip to the back side of the notes. We kind of have a big chunk of notes still to do here. Let's see how this goes. So, kind of going back to what we talked about right before our Kahoot here, is that negative exponents kind of make the problem, or they do make the problem into a fraction. So that's one of the things I want you guys to be thinking about. That's kind of the why behind things. Like a lot of times with this, I've been a lot of times saying, why does this happen this way, or why does it work? This is kind of the why behind it. So what the negative exponent does is it basically switches where the base is in the fraction. So this one's currently on the bottom. So in order to make it positive, I'm going to move it to the top. Almost like a reciprocal, but not quite. So it moves it to the top of the fraction. So this x to the negative 4 is currently where in the fraction? It's not a fraction. So where would it be in the fraction? What's the default? Yeah.
Wait, are we talking about the exponent?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be 1
No,
oh,
it's
wait, no, that's the wrong one. That's the wrong one.
No, it's okay.
1 8x.
No,
That's
we're moving the
also
whole
wrong.
thing. So
Oh,
no, it's
sorry,
okay.
that's fine.
It's okay. This is new, so no worries. So it's currently on the top. So we're going to move it to the bottom. Because right now I can put it over 1, right? So I'm going to move it to the bottom and it's going to become positive. So anytime you move it, it changes the sign of the exponent. So I'll write that out in words and then try to show you guys with some more examples. So we're going to move bases with negative exponents. And this is not easy, so don't think that it's something that's gonna, I mean, some of you, it won't come instantly. It's a confusing idea. So what we're gonna do is switch its position in the fraction. So we're going to move bases with negative exponents. Now I said bases with negative exponents. We're not going to move negative coefficients. So I'm going to write that in red so you remember that. And I'll show you guys what I mean. This is why it's so important to understand these terms. So we're not going to move negative coefficients. We're going to move negative exponents, but not negative coefficients. And I'll show you what I mean in this example down here. So this negative 2, what's its exponent? It's a 1. So does it have a negative exponent? No. So it's going to stay where it is. So negative 2 is going to stay put because it has a positive 1 as an exponent. However, the other two have negative exponents. So what we're going to do is we're going to flip their positions in the fraction. So this m to the negative 3 is going to move to the bottom and become positive. So it changes the exponent. The n to the negative 4 is going to move to the top and become positive. So you're going to switch where it's located in the fraction. And again, the reason behind that is going back to that front side, that little chart or list we did, was as soon as we got negative exponents, they moved up into the bottom of the fraction. So let's do this one. We'll talk through it here. All right, first of all, negative 2 over 4. What does that become? Negative 2 over 4. Simplify that for me. Negative 1 over 2. That's fine. So, like, coefficients, don't do anything crazy with them. Just simplify them. Treat them like normal numbers. All right. How about that x? What's x's exponent? It's a 1. So does it need to move? No, it's going to stay where it is. So leave x to the first there. So we're only going to move bases that have negative exponents. So y to the negative 3 is negative. So I'm going to move it to the bottom of the fraction, and it's going to become positive. W to the negative 2 is a negative exponent. So I'm going to move it to the top. So we just want all the exponents to be positive. So we just switch where they are. And hopefully this next example will kind of make it kind of a little more obvious. I think the next example is a good one. And this is just going to take practice. And that kind of goes back to that meme. It says you can't memorize it in one night. You guys said, well, maybe you can, but a lot of this just does take practice, like kind of seeing, oh, that's what I did wrong, that's what I moved wrong. There are just kind of rules we have to follow. So let's look at this one with the A, B, all the way up to E here. Okay. So I'm going to, just like I did before, I have a question that I ask again and again. I'm going to do that here. We only want to move bases with negative exponents. So is a to the third okay? Yeah, so leave a to the third where it is. So that's going to stay on the top. So that's going to stay. That doesn't change at all. How about b to the negative 2? That one's going to have to move because it has a negative exponent. So I'm going to put that one on the bottom, and then it becomes positive. So I'm just going to do one thing at a time. How about c? C okay? Yep, c to the first is fine. So that's going to stay. And you don't need the first power, but d to the negative 4. It's going to go to the top now. And how about e? Stay. So you're just moving the exponents that are negative and the base that like it's stuck to. So the base and exponent can't be separated. They kind of stay together there. So this would be our answer. Nothing else can be put together, so we just stop there. All right, this next one I'm probably going to use like 4 different colors on it just to kind of help you see the difference between all the different parts. So, starting with negative 12 over 4. What does that become? Yeah.
Or negative 3 over 1.
Negative 3 over 1, negative 3 is fine. If you want to put the over 1, that's perfectly fine. So just to have something in the bottom there. So treat that like a normal number. Negative 12 over 4 is negative 3. You've known that for years. All right, how about those A's? What needs to happen with the A's in this case? They're both going to flip because they're both negative. So we're going to switch them. So now some of you guys might be trying to combine them already. I would hesitate and tell you to stop. I'm just going to switch them. So this will be a to the second and a to the third. So they just switched their spots because they're both negative. So I just switched where they are. We'll have to simplify them in a minute, but I just moved their positions, if that makes sense. All right, how about the B's? So is b to the fourth okay? Yeah, but the b to the negative 3 is going to move up by that b to the fourth. So they're both going to be on top. And some of you guys might be saying already, I want to combine them, and if you want to, you can. That's fine. You can kind of work a little bit ahead. But we're just putting them both on top together. We'll simplify them together in a second. So I'm kind of trying to do baby steps rather than trying to do too much at once. And then how about the C's? Are they okay right now where they're at? Yeah. So we'll simplify them, but we'll simplify them in a second. So now everything's positive. I like it a lot better this way, because now this becomes like yesterday. And if you were able to do some of those steps already, and you like are working ahead of us, that's fine, as long as you end up in the same spot. So, -3/1 is good. But where are the A's going to end up in this case? Look at our green A's there. On the bottom, how many of them? Just one, right? Because there's going to be one more on the bottom. The B's are all on top. How many are there? There's 7 of them. There's 4 and 3, so 7. And the C's, where are they going to end up? Bottom, how many more? 4. So if you do these a step at a time and look at each of the variables separately, they're pretty doable, but if you look at it and just, oh, I don't know what to do with all that, it does look awful when you first start it. Like, it looks bad, I agree. Okay? So, let's look at the next one here. And then we'll probably just pick and choose a little bit with the bottom, just because we're running a little low on time. So in this case, this is asking us to multiply, but we also have negative exponents, and there's no fraction currently. So that kind of throws a kind of a weird little loophole here. We'll talk about it though. Treat the coefficients like normal numbers. What's 5 and -2 here? -10, just multiply it. Okay, before I start moving things around, I'm okay adding and subtracting negative numbers. If you are too, I would suggest trying to combine things as much as we can. Because I have an a to the third, and I have an a to the -7. If I put those, or not a, it's an x, I don't know where a came from. If I put those together, what do I have? What's 3 minus 7? Yeah, so if you'd like to combine them the way they are, that's fine. So x to the -4. How about the y? 4. -2 and 6 is 4. And then what's the z going to be? 2. Because 1 and 1 is 2. Now, the directions say positive non-zero exponent. What's my only issue now? Yeah, this -4 here. So what we're going to do is we're going to make this into a fraction. So right now it's not a fraction. When it's not a fraction, it's just on the top of a fraction. So we just need to get rid of that a to the -4. We're going to drop it to the bottom. Everything else will just stay on top. And that x to the 4th now is on the bottom, and now it becomes positive. Okay? Questions there? And yeah, if you take your time with these, they're really doable. If you try to look at it and just, I don't know what to start, I mean, just kind of be like, you know, deliberate about it. Now, the last one, we'll probably just do maybe one of these or something, or pick which one you guys think looks the hardest, I don't know. So, it says suggested steps for simplifying. Now, normally I say you have to follow these steps. Like, I'm really like, you know, with solving equations, like if you change up the steps, you're probably going to get them wrong. I'm going to tell you guys, these are kind of more suggestions because there are lots of ways to get the right answer in this case. I try to simplify inside the parentheses first. We kind of talked about that a little bit yesterday. But so it's suggested. You don't have to do this order. It'll work either way. The YouTube link just popped up. So if you're able to, you'd simplify inside the parentheses. Do you guys think that 4th one looks the most complicated? Yeah, should we work on that one? This one? It's not that bad.
It's really not that bad. All of them aren't bad.
No. But once you get going on them, let's do the 4th one though, just for argument. argument's sake here. All right, just because we don't have a ton of time left. All right, so I would simplify inside the parentheses first. There's a few different G's and H's here, so I'm going to try and simplify it inside the parentheses first. So the 2 over 3, nothing happens. Whoops. Now, I have this G to the second, the G to the negative 1. That G to the negative 1 is going to go to the top, right? So how many G's are going to be up there? 3. So if you want to see that kind of the long way, be G squared and G to the first. So G to the third would be on top. This H to the negative 2 needs to move to the bottom. Or D. Okay. So I just simplified, I got it just down to a single G and H inside the parentheses. So that's my first suggestion. Once I do that, if there's distributing I need it to do, I'm going to do that next. So distribute an exponent. Now, so if there aren't exponents, you obviously don't have to worry about that. So we're going to distribute the exponent here. This is going to go into all of those bases. So I'm going to write it over here just to save myself. So 2 to the second, G to the sixth, 3 to the second, H to the fourth, times and then you kind of have to repeat the process. Now we try to simplify again. Remember that, so you always kind of want to keep checking if you can simplify anymore. Now remember, this is like a big division bar. So this 2 to the second's a 4. I might just rewrite it the way it is. This is 9 here. And then there's also a 4. So I see, rather than multiplying 9 times 4 here, if you notice that you can actually just cancel the 4's out. If you want. So there's G to the sixth on top and just a G on the bottom. Where do the G's end up? Top, how many?
5.
There's 6 and then just 1 on the bottom, so 5. Okay? The H's, there's 3 on the top, 4 on the bottom. So 1 H on the bottom, and then there's just like a 9 down there as well. That's what it ends up being. Ooh, I just realized I did it wrong on my notes from last year. Oh my gosh. All right. I know. So homework is listed there. I'm sorry, it was a little bit long on the notes. Definitely get the first part done. If you don't get to the second part, it's not the end of the world. I'll probably have you guys show it to me tomorrow or the next day. So definitely try to get this part done for tomorrow. If this one has to wait till Friday, I'm okay with that.
Oh my God, tomorrow's Thursday.
Yeah, I know.
Since when did it?
I know. The week went fast. It was weird. I don't know. Or I don't know if it did, but I never know what day it
I
is.
still feel